Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
My name is Sarah Quigg, and I will be your worship partner today. And if you like, you can use the chat to post the name of the street and name where the cellist was played. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, blessings and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, everyone. My name is Ellen Quaadgras. I don't actually have to read this for that. I also want to welcome you this morning, and I'm just going to turn this up a little bit. This is the second to last Sunday that I will be with you. And the feeling of that finality has been beginning to hit me. Once again, I found myself at a loss for words, or rather tossing out the sermon I had written, and at 4:30 on Saturday morning, writing a new one. A little less polished, a little more true. Today also happens to be Appreciation Sunday, a service designed around all of you, around your participation, your passions, and all the possibilities you have created and are still creating. In this month where our theme is possibility, I invite us to go deeper with these words adapted from Reverend Andrew Backus. Make yourself a religious home, if only for these brief moments, in spite of time, which will soon bear us away from one another. Make this a family. Treat everyone here as your own, if only in this time, which we make sacred by our connections here and beyond. So come on in, come online, bring your cares, your hopes, your dreams. Let us worship. Let us join in our opening hymn, number 347, Gather the Spirit. Please rise in body or spirit. Please remain standing.
Please
Remain standing if you are in person as we say together our unison affirmation. And if you are online, the words will be posted in the chat. If you are here, they are in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service our mission. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please be seated.
Good morning. 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 Okay, works good. Good morning. My name is Camila Bajakowski, and together with Rob DeLong and Sue Bolins, we are the lay pastoral care committee or team here at Westminster. And while Reverend Ellen is available for one more week for pastoral counseling, we are available to listen and support for anyone who needs a listening ear. Our contact information is in the chat and in the order of service. So as we gather in community, we carry life's hurts and its great joys, recognizing that joys shared are multiplied and hurts shared can be lightened. We invite you to share your joys and sorrows in the chat, and I will read the joys and sorrows that have been written down in person as Sarah lights each candle and as Nonetta plays.
Let us gather our hearts and minds in a spirit of prayer or meditation. Blessed is every breath I take. Blessed is every fear I face. Blessed is every robin's nest, every bough of spruce, every shell on the beach, every lap of waves. Blessed is the droop of a willow, the sweep of a prairie, the gable of one's house, and our family and friends. Blessed is my love, the depth of my strength, which is deeper than my present brokenness. Blessed is the honesty of my fears, my fierce love of life. Blessed is love that forever remembers my future and trembles with my tremors. Blessed is the courage I did not know I had. Blessed is my desire that suffering should end. Blessed is the song of life, one of whose notes each of us are. Blessed is the beauty of it all. Blessed is this Thanksgiving. Now, I invite you to join in our song in response, which is number 1010 in your thinner, lighter hymnal. The words will be posted in the chat for those online. Please remain seated for this.
Unitarian Universalist churches are built on congregational polity, which means it is the people who create this place, sustain this place, and live the values of this place. One way we sustain this congregation and live our values is to take a morning offering, which we share with a different organization each month that does good works in the community. Our June recipient of Share the Plate is Yemen Aid. The Yemeni civil war has led to the largest humanitarian crisis on earth. Yemen Aid provides urgent aid and long-term sustainable projects by varying aid from district to district and province to province within the Republic of Yemen. Yemen's current conflict has over 2/3 of the country's population facing imminent starvation and famine, and half of Yemen's medical facilities have closed its operations. The other half of the offering goes to support all the good work of this congregation. You can donate using the link that is now being put in the chat. If you are here in person, we ask that you use your cell phone to click on the donate button on the Westminster website, or you can leave your offering in the box on the table after the service. The offering will now be given and received with gratitude. Today, we continue the activity we started at the Coming of Age service that will tie together 6 important services as we continue to create a physical representation of our congregational commitments and connections to not only Westminster, but to Unitarian Universalism and all those things that hold us together. As you can see, it is already becoming beautiful. The red ties represent our water communion service in the fall, when everyone got to quilt together hopes for the year, representing Westminster's history and all those who came before. The orange ties, representing the visioning service in March, are all those flames and sparks of ideas that will carry Westminster into your future commitments as you live your vision. The yellow ties from the Coming of Age service, representing the beliefs emerging in our young people and the deepening and changing beliefs in all, as we begin to carry the flame of our values into the larger world. The blue ribbons from last Sunday's bridging service represent the rolling oceans of life that they travel, that any of us travel, knowing this is a place you can always call home. And today is green, in honor of Appreciation Sunday, when we recognize and appreciate all the lay leadership and all the volunteering that goes into making this place what it is. Green represents the spirit of growth. When we commit our time and energy to something we believe in, we get the satisfaction of watching it grow and transform, like new leaves in the spring. And we get the satisfaction of watching ourselves grow and transform in the process too. At the end of the service, you should all have a green ribbon that you're invited to tie onto the tapestry.
Appreciations. What a year it's been. Let me just start with that. Coming out of a pandemic, or well, sort of coming out of a pandemic, nature played games with us. Yes, no, you can meet, you can't meet. You can go to school. No, you can't. You can wear masks. You don't wear masks. You can go to your workplace. No, you can't. You can leave your house. No, 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 you better not. Crazy making, exhausting, stressful. That after a year and a half, 2 years, a long time of isolating, adjusting, bending, stretching, and striving overtime to make family work, to make work work, to make church work. Today, we recognize that church part. Appreciation Sunday is a chance to acknowledge all the ways your participation has made Westminster what it is, which I'm guessing this year felt a little bit like going uphill both ways with a headwind both ways, knee deep in mud while riding a bicycle and juggling large kitchen appliances. I don't know, something like that. Point being, it's been a hard year, which makes every single little thing you offered or even intended to offer shine just that much brighter. Because some of what you have offered has been behind the scenes, we are going to make the visible a little bit more visible, the invisible a little more visible by asking folks in the corners if you would be willing to help with something. I want you to hold on to a piece of yarn that Beth and Sandy are handing out right now. So you're just going to hold on to that for a moment. If there's someone who's willing somewhere in a corner somewhere. And as I name different roles, if you can hold on to one end of that string and then start to unroll it and pass it along to whoever might be raising their hand or standing up. I think it will become clearer. It sounds super confusing right now. It probably will be. You don't want to share it yet. Don't send it around quite yet. You're going to hand it to people who stand. Okay. I'm going to turn this around in a minute. So let's start with the board. A group of clear-eyed, wide-hearted, dedicated leaders who started the year with vision and hope and have navigated challenge after challenge, the expected and the unexpected, and who will be the backbone of this church in the year to come. If you're on the board and you are here in person, please raise your hand or stand, whatever feels right to you, so we can see who you are. And if you're online, which we're going to now show you. Yeah, so now folks who are online, just so you know, we just turned on the monitor so we can see you all. You can wave if you want. So if you're on the board, online, you can raise your virtual hand. Okay, so now if you would pass the string to the board members so that each board member gets, yeah. So you're gonna, just hold, you're gonna hold it and then pass it to the next board member. We're making a web.
Just one, all string or all?
Well, just one closest to where you are. Let's do it that way. And so yeah, no, just you can, yeah, take that one. Yep, and then you're gonna pass it to Bobby. So you're gonna pass it to Sean and then to Bobby just to make the web. Yeah, and then yeah, perfect. This is going exactly according to plan.
I had a rehearsal.
Sean, if you hold on to it, that means something.
It means all good things, all good things. Because the board did not do it alone, committee after committee, team after team, worked on a shoestring of energy and volunteer time to get their jobs done. Chairing a committee in such a time is no small feat. In fact, some of those committee chairs may not even have been able to make it this morning from their exhaustion. Anyway, so I'd like to ask our committee chairs to stand or raise your hand if you are online. Committee chairs, yes. Now we're gonna pass, we're gonna pass the threads, the yarn to you. Yep, just keep passing it. If we pass too much, there's no such thing as passing too much yarn in this game. Yeah, you're doing beautifully. Okay, so thank you. Yeah. In a minute, I'm going to show you folks online what we're enjoying here right now. So the committee chairs didn't do it alone either. Some committees, frankly, didn't even have a chair. It was rotating leadership, and people stepped up and filled in and offered so much with what they had. So if you volunteered in any capacity this year, please stand or raise your hand, whether that was on team renewal, ushering at a service, writing a card, packing dog food, welcoming sharing locker clients, hanging a Black Lives Matter flag, hanging a pride flag, coming to a pride event, whether you made calls for the budget drive, pruned a shrub, led a connection group, listened to someone in a connection group, listened to someone in any group. Tech hosted a service, helped set up chairs for a service, helped organize a service, whether you balanced a budget, pledged to a budget, got reimbursed from a budget, whether you taught a child, were taught by a child, meditated together, picked a book for the book group, read a book for the book group, welcomed a newcomer, or whether you are a newcomer and have no idea who we even are yet.
Major pledge.
What's that?
Major pledge.
Yeah, I had that already. If you have ever smiled at someone, or been kind to someone or held the door for another person, if you've ever sung in a worship service, or if you are here right now, present today, because your simple participation in the service, the fact that you showed up, gave of your time and your essential you to be with us today is priceless. It's essential. Every single one of you is part of this web in big ways and invisible ways, but all important ways that are crucial for community. So now what we're going to do, oops, thank you. I suppose I sang a song today. So now what we're going to do is, this is the interesting part. You thought that what we did so far was going to be interesting. Now we're all going to take the web that you have, and we're going to kind of bring it together so that it can be moved forward, and we're going to put it on the table so we can represent this web. So lift it above your heads. Yep. And now just pass it forward somehow. I know you guys are going to figure this out. This is a team building exercise, which I didn't know was going to be that. So Beth is going to help you. I'll help you too. All right, let's move it forward. There we go. Beautiful, perfect. I love it. This is excellent. Okay, all right. Yes, wonderful.
I carry my own. I gotta get out of here.
Put that on the table. Okay. You may be seated.
Looks like spaghetti.
There we go. Good spaghetti, the best kind of spaghetti. Let me see if you see that on the, there. It looks smaller than it did a moment ago. But it represents all of what you've done and all of who you are and all the ways you are connected to one another. And it looks complex. Someone said messy, I don't know, but it looks complex. This web that we have created, it's the invisible web we talked about last week. You can't even see all the connections. But when you tug on any part, you tug on every part, and every part is important. So what does it take to grow a soul? I'm wondering if I should leave folks online or take them off. Are you folks online okay with being online, being invisible, being visible rather in the congregation? I'm seeing some nods. Okay, we would love to see the congregation. All right, that's tough to do because either you see the speaker or the congregation. I'll give you a quick glance of the congregation. There we go. There, that's the side that we said, we were gonna show. Okay. All right. How's that? Is that all right? That seems okay. So what does it take to grow a soul? What makes it possible for humans to grow and expand and go deeper? It's a question that occupies many a minister's mind, certainly has occupied mine. In the 10 years since I've been here, I have read book after book and attended conference after conference, sat through class after class, trying to help me understand the magic of leading the kind of church that grows a soul. Program after program, sermon after sermon, written all in hopes of helping you and me grow our souls. Then there's also books about the congregation as an institution, about different forms of governance. I've tried things, failed at things, succeeded at some things. And then COVID came along and did a number on every single one of us in every single church in this country and probably every single church in the world. Leaving, for me, this question: what is essential about congregational life? What are we here for? And then, what does it take to grow a soul? I happened to use this occasion of transition to look at my ordination book, Show and Tell. There it is. This is a beautiful book that Amy Abel, you might have heard her, helped create with Bev Burgess, who's since left the church. It's absolutely beautiful, with all of your big hopes and wide dreams for me and my own for you as well. I reread the sermon from that day given by Reverend Mary Ludy, who was my mentor in seminar and a giant of spiritual growth in my mind. She asked the question in her sermon, what makes a good minister? What makes for success in ministry? She cites studies done about this. One long one in particular done with focus groups, tracked seminarians, interviewed working ministers. It was a huge project that produced a 442-page report, which she said held a long social scientific footnote on the last page, which translated into English said, so what makes a person a good minister? We have no idea. The United Church of Christ, her own denomination, conducted a similar study. It came up with a different answer to the question. They said, it depends. Depends on what you mean by suitable, depends on what you mean by ministry. But what they really meant was, we have no idea either. She concludes that all those people could have saved themselves a lot of time and trouble by consulting her fourth grade teacher, Sister Mary Benjamin. Whenever her class asked her a religious question beyond her pay grade, she would raise her eyes, lower her voice, and intone, it's a mystery. Just when you think you're going to get a concrete answer, you get something like that. So, what grows a soul? Is it a mystery? I was heartened by an email that wandered into my inbox this week. It was from Jordan Cambry, who bridged last Sunday. Before she goes off to college, she would like to sign the book, she said, become a member. Beth Gibson called it a moment of beauty and strength and wonder and hope, so emblematic of what church is all about. A launching pad and a grounding place for our precious young people. They are growing their souls. All of you are helping each other grow your souls in good times and in hard times, particularly in hard times, times of uncertainty or transition, times you could say, like this one, uncertainty can be unsettling for many of us. I know it is for me. As I was lying awake the other night, couldn't sleep, there was this thought in my mind of how things do get hard in life. And when they're hard, they often get harder before they get better. My thoughts in the middle of the night are often like that. There's also some truth to it. I was unsettled and uneasy, and I found myself reaching for my own hand. When an image came to mind, a poem came to my mind. As I've been thinking about leaving, I want to leave you with something. And this is what my heart wants to leave you with, this poem, which refers to God, actually metaphorically God speaking to each of us. And I know God language doesn't work for everyone. So if God language doesn't work for you, I invite you to imagine a creator spirit, a loving spirit, a parental spirit. Maybe the spirit of someone who has loved you, who's passed away. Here's the poem, which I have read to myself so often, I have it mostly memorized. God speaks to us as God makes us, and then walks silently with us out of the night. Go, these are the words you dimly hear. You, sent out beyond your recall. Go to the limits of your longing. Embody me. Let everything happen to you. Beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. Don't let yourself lose me. Nearby, there is a country they call life. You will know it by its seriousness. Give me your hand. I think that image, particularly powerful for me. I'm remembering when I was a child and I would go through something hard or have a hard conversation with my mom. We would talk it through. And then at the end, she would reach out her hand to me. And I would put my hand in hers. And I knew it was going to be okay. Did not warn her I was going to say this. I want to leave you with a story about facing hard things, shared by someone who makes big shadows. Her name is Reverend Allison Miller. She is a high-profile UU minister who is articulate and persuasive. I happened to fly with her to a UU conference one year, and when the plane landed after some turbulence, she got the whole plane to sing, "And we give thanks for this precious day." These people weren't even UUs, and they didn't know that song. Her dedication and commitment to Unitarian Universalism have always inspired me. She was nominated for the UUA presidency 4 years ago and ran with boldness and grace. And while she didn't win, she impressed a lot of people, including me. All of which is to give you a little background about her as a preacher who shared the following story as part of a sermon at General Assembly a few years ago. It was a sermon about life and setbacks and discouragement and what you do with that. Illness and grief struck this family 3 times in less than 2 years, Allison said. First, a woman lost her husband. Then she lost her father. Then her 16-year-old daughter noticed a mass growing in her arm. After many scans and tests, the woman sat with her daughter waiting to hear what was next. The oncologist said, "Your daughter has a rare form of cancer for which there is no successful protocol. I give her a 3% chance of survival. She would have to go through excruciating and debilitating treatments. If it were me, I would take her home and love her for the little time she has left and not bother with such torture," this doctor said. His words were filled with confidence. The mother was stunned. Her story seemed to be everyone she loved would die, and soon. She faced an overwhelming circumstance, one that would likely lead to the death of her daughter. Should she step forward? Or should she accept what the oncologist interpreted as the clear end to this story? "I am so grateful," Allison said, "that my mother did not choose to follow that doctor's script." Because the woman in the story was Allison's mother, and now Reverend Allison herself. Allison herself was the girl with the mass in her arm. They visited another doctor who looked at all the same tests and shared all the same dire numbers, but who told of a different possibility. This doctor said, "I need to be honest with you. There is no successful treatment for this cancer. However, let's go on an odyssey together to figure something out. Any chance is worth it." And we did go on an odyssey, Allison said, and it included a degree of torture, but she made it through, alive, now a minister and a mother against all odds. But she continued, her story would not be complete without sharing how her religious community buoyed her up on those turbulent waters and allowed her precious moments to catch her breath. In fact, that community ensured, she said, that she would experience a degree of healing even if she had not survived. She was held by this, our religion, without easy answers. And this reflected real life. Allison recounts spending hours talking to her youth advisor and peers as they helped her live into the question marks that became her days. Youth group moved to the pediatric oncology ward on some Sundays, testifying to their willingness to go to hard places to share the healing blessing of community. and 150 people from the congregation gave blood in her name. Quite literally, she said she is on this earth because they gave a piece of themselves so that she could live. The story of a mother's courage, a daughter's persistence, and the kindness and support of a whole congregational community. Community not unlike this one. A web, a tapestry of people with heart and courage and kindness and persistence and love. Willing to go on odysseys together against all odds for the greater good of those among them and around them. Things get hard. They always do. And sometimes they get harder before they get better. But remember, you are in this, you are in everything together. When you disagree, you can come back to your values and back each other for the greater good. I believe that we all have more strength, courage, and resilience than any of us know. And I believe that when you go through hard things together, you grow your soul. You're in this odyssey, in the mystery, and in the magic. May you, metaphorically, give each other a hand. Amen. Let us join for our closing hymn, number 1028 in your thinner hymnal. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Yes, I picked,
the hardest hymn in our hymnal. So that's, if you made it through that, you can make it through anything.
You can join the choir.
You can join the choir. It's a beautiful song, though. Please remain standing for our closing words. As we, you and I, begin to go our separate ways, I hear a voice that I like to think of as God's voice, some voice of power, some voice of love, telling you, telling me, go to the limits of your longing. Embody me. Make big shadows I can move in. Don't let yourself lose me. Give me your hand. Amen. And let us join for our closing song, where we used to literally hold hands. Now we metaphorically hold hands because of COVID. Carry the flame.